the end, obviously it drops the beat. So listen, work on a lot of things. You put in some good work, put in some good time, and everything works out well. And with that being said, it is Talking Hoops tonight with Coach Johnson. You guys know her as T Johnson. As Ron says, TRJ. We also have Coach Mac, of course, world famous Ron Briscoe in the house with us again this evening. And tonight, our guest will be Kevin Roberts from Fit Chef, putting together a meal for you guys live while we're on. It might be his dinner, but it's a good thing though, because if it is his dinner, it's also going to be the stuff that you guys can end up eating. So Kevin will be joining us here momentarily, but lots going on here as the WNBA goes into round 2 mode, which should be really, really interesting with the ones that are left there, because between the aces, and let me refresh back on my screen here because I want to make sure I get everything right here. But first, let me just say this. Last night, we apologized as there were some technical difficulties, and that's why we reverted the show back to today. That's number one. Number two, as we were going around the horn last night, Coach Johnson said, who do you guys like? Was it going to be the Sun and/or the Lynx? And some of us were right last night there, Coach T, because I picked the Sun. I think, Coach Mac, you picked the Sun too last night, didn't you?
I did. Overall, I did.
So that was
you kind of hesitated there.
Yeah.
We did expect a tough matchup, though. We said it could really go either way based on how game 2 went.
Yeah. And by the way, if you guys missed the breakdown, I'm pretty sure later on today, as we get into the games, the breakdown that Coach Johnson had last night, on point. When I tell you guys, y'all need to get a ton of butter to go with the popcorn. But Kevin, you can scratch that one out there. Healthy popcorn, Kevin. Listen, you got to grab your popcorn, because I love being on with this panel, because between Ron, Coach Mac, and Coach Johnson, all I have to do is put my hands behind my head, grab the popcorn, and just feed off exactly what they're dishing out. So speaking of dishes, we bring on our guest from way down south. It is Fit Chef Kevin Roberts on with us this evening. Kevin, thank you for joining us this evening, sir.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Starting off here with the first comment, Lynette Thomas. Hello, all. Hello, Lynette.
Hey, what's up, Lynette?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And yes, so Kevin is not here for a weightlifting competition. He is here because he is the Fit Chef. And so, of course, we teased him before we end up coming on live. The fun part is, one day, I keep saying it also on the Broad Street South side of the house, some of the stuff that we talk about off air could make for some great outtakes when we go on air. So maybe one day I'll surprise everybody and just tell them that, by the way, you're being recorded. But of course, I have to say it in advance so that no one gets upset. But also, thank you all for tuning in from Sports Radio 102.9 FM, The Game, over on AMP Radio, right here on broadstsouth.com, and over on YouTube page. So 4 different ways to tune in, listen live. And if you're on the go, download the Sports Radio app. You can go to the App Store and/or the Android store, and/or to make it easier, if you guys go to broadstsouth.com, click over where it says Sports Radio. At the bottom of the page, you're going to see 2 easy links. It can't get any better than that. So when you're on the go and you want to hear Coach Johnson get into all her analytics, you guys don't want to miss that. So I'm just saying, download the apps. And while you're there, leave us 5 stars, because to put in the work, it takes a lot. But thanks to this team, it makes things a lot easier. So with that, and Lynette says thank you, by the way. I'm going to make sure properly I bring that up there.
And I just want to add, Angel.
Sure.
There's no excuses for them. They know all the platforms we own and how to get to it. So there's no excuses.
There sure isn't. The only excuse that they would have is not a way to find, and I'll make sure I put that up there on the screen as well, so that everyone knows exactly where to go to get these delicious meals. The one meal, at least, that Kevin's going to prepare for us tonight. But Kevin, first, to start off, the length of your company, as far as the time of service that you guys have been around, and then how important is it? And it's just not for athletes, even though we have an athletic show here, but the show is for everyone. But more importantly, because athletes, we know they have to be conditioned a certain way if they choose to be fit, because we all know sometimes that Little Caesars, McDonald's, BK over. But for you in conditioning, how important is it to make sure you have the right meal, even if you are, like I said, an athlete or you're just home and you want to make sure you get the proper rest, make sure you get that proper, nutrition, so that that balance inside your head goes off well, and at nighttime you can get plenty of rest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, how long of a show do we have? Because I can go on for hours about why eating healthy is good for you and why it's important, especially as an athlete. So, a little bit about me, myself. I started Fit Chef, which is a healthy meal business here in the heart of Mississippi. Ironically, today makes 7 years since I formed the LLC, Fit Chef Catering LLC, which 7 years ago, right? Thanks, Coach Mack. I appreciate the silent applause. So 7 years ago, basically, I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 15 years old. I've been in cooking my entire life. I've lived all over California, Alaska, Florida. I've cooked for millionaires, billionaires. I've cooked for all kinds of cool, people across the country. I finally got tired of sitting in the corner eating healthy food while I'm selling, burgers and wings. And people were asking me, well, hey, can I have what you're eating? So sure enough, back in 2016, I ended up leaving the restaurant industry and ended up starting my own business, Fit Chef, where I was cooking a handful of meals and delivering it to 7 clients that I had in the beginning. So I was actually doing more of a personal chef kind of thing. Since then, we have grown now to where we are one of the largest meal prep companies in Mississippi. We have 3 stores. We're in our 3rd current kitchen and moving into a new kitchen that we're building out right now. We average about 5,000 meals a week, plus we have a full catering service. And then this new facility that we're building out right now is going to house the capacity for us to do nationwide shipping. So I'm hoping by the end of this year, going into 2024, we'll be able to ship to Angel, to Ron, to Coach Johnson, to Coach Mack, and everybody else who's watching this show right now. So hopefully within the next 3 to 6 months, I can have meals shipped right to your house. All right. So that's a little bit about who I am. Now, with that being said, I have a store in Oxford, Mississippi. So obviously this is an athletic conversation and podcast. And so I have quite a few NIL contracts with some of the student athletes up there, and so I've been working with a handful of these guys, and it really is, and women. I have female NIL contracts also, which actually, ironically, I'm gonna get into this in a minute, but I'm now pushing more heavier toward the women's side of sports to help them. Because I've learned that they care more about their actual health than men do. Just so y'all know. Imagine that, right? I think a 20-year-old college boy out here playing football and stuff, he can go eat a Little Caesars, no problem. But you got a 20-year-old, college basketball player, female, she's wanting to have more of a competitive edge, because I promise you, she's going to be more competitive than those boys are going to be. Or at least that's what I found, right? Can I get some agreement from the girls back here?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little
Yes, you can.
in there, right? I promise you.
Yes, you can.
I've seen it for myself.
Yes.
Right. So, my goal is to make sure that we educate people how to eat healthier, how to properly eat for fuel, to actually fuel the body, versus just, at 20, 21 years old, you're not getting taught how to eat. You just know that food tastes good. I'm going to eat whatever I can. My metabolism is blowing and going, so I can scarf stuff down all day long. Or at least that's what I see a lot of these athletes doing. They're just kind of just scarfing whatever they want to down. Actually, I have 2 pro athletes that went into the actual draft this past year that we had contracts with. One's playing for Carolina. The other one's playing for New Orleans. So these are football guys. And again, whenever they were with me back in Ole Miss, they were eating good. They were eating healthy. Those guys turned, they went pro. Because they actually cared about what they were putting into their system. We have a problem, and I'm going to get a little kind of sidetracked about this, but there is a problem in this country where people are not actually taking the time to learn what, how, and why we need to have fuel for our body
Mhm.
versus just eating for the flavor profile, you know? Because what people don't realize is, 2021, your prime going into 23, 25 years old, you're eating all this stuff. By the time you hit 30, all of a sudden you're overweight, your metabolism's shot, your testosterone in men are just, absolutely plummeted. And you're wondering why, you're losing hair, you have no energy, and your entire body is just hurting and aching, right? Hey, don't worry, Ron, I ain't got no hair either, man. Trust me, that's what you're feeling for. But because our body is changing as we get older, and people don't realize that what we eat when we're younger is going to affect us so much, and especially the stuff that they are putting in our in the market nowadays. Like, it's so genetically modified, there's so many different additives, there's so many chemicals, there's so many things that are put into our food system now that are designed to actually make us sick, but it causes inflammation. It causes, all kinds of autoimmune diseases. You're wondering why there's so many men under the age of 30 having to have testosterone replacement. We don't realize this, or how women are they're not even having testosterone anymore, and they're having, women are losing hair nowadays faster than, ever before, and you wonder why. Cancer. Look at cancer. Look at the amount of cancer who has spread across this country, all
Mhm.
because the number one related reason is because the amount of sugar increase in our blood system from eating and digesting sugars over the last 30, 40 years. You know, like, so that's the problem. That's the issue. Those are the things that are causing us to have so many illnesses, so many sicknesses. Not just to mention overweight, tired, feeling lethargic. All this stuff kind of depresses our system. So my goal is to educate how and what to eat healthier to combat all this stuff. The reality is, keep it simple. You know, so, one thing that I'll try to push is to understand what we're eating, why we're eating it, understand simple carbohydrates versus complex carbohydrates, understand why, after you work out, the best thing to do, which is I'm going to show y'all here in a second, is eat a dish that can digest quickly, which is going to be, especially like athletes. I mean, especially if you have these guys, these girls, they're out here, playing ball for a good 2 hour practice or even a 2 hour, session. I mean, because what is it? Basketball has an hour long, actual game time, but you're out there for about 2 hours, right?
Right.
Doing
Right.
good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So
Roughly.
that's a lot of time, to be burning calories, to be burning energy. So right afterwards, you can come back in. I always recommend right after a good exercise to eat good, fast digesting proteins and also eat quick digesting carbohydrates. That way you can replenish the cells in your body. That way you can replenish the protein synthesis and reactivate the proteins inside your body so that your body's not breaking down your muscle. Protein catalyst. This happens when you wear and tear your muscles out. So my recommendations are always going to be, chicken, not fried, more like grilled. All right. Trust me, I love fried chicken just as much as the next person, but grilled chicken is a good, I know, right? Uh, Grilled chicken, right? Come on, Ron. I know you down there in South Louisiana. I know y'all love. You ever had that
Man,
fried
no,
chicken covered in extra face
I'm,
sauce before?
hey, I'm not testifying right now, so go ahead.
Trust me, trust me. Don't look. I can talk all day. Um, but yeah, but seafood, people, white fish, you got white fish such as like cod, tilapia if you like, catfish, because I'm here in Mississippi. You get a good farm raised catfish, it's not as bad as you think. Some people call them bottom feeders. They actually have a lot of
Mhm.
good clean protein in them. You can also eat like halibut if you have the extra money for it. If you have, mahi mahi, swordfish, things like this, a good white fish. Personally, my favorite to eat right after a good workout is actually going to be shrimp, which you can get real good, nice, especially down in South Louisiana, Ron. I know you can get your hands on some really good, 16 U's, those real big old shrimp, I know you like them. That's right.
Delcom is only 30 miles away.
I know that's right. That's right.
So Kevin, let me ask you this. How do
Go
you
ahead.
sell to high school athletes and parents, because parents play a role in it too. How do you sell to them that nutrition is key to their development and their performance?
Great question.
And that's actually a really good question. And what I have learned is you have to become relatable, and what I mean by that is when you're trying to relate to look, you can go to a bunch of high school boys like, hey, you want to be big and strong like LeBron, or do you want to be weak like, the kids, the guys off of Space Jam, before they drink the magic juice, like I just watched that movie the other day with my kids, by the way. So the little aliens, they're looking all rough and whatever. But
Uh-huh.
young boys, you can sit there and you can throw an idolized athlete out there and say, hey, I guarantee you, LeBron, Kobe, Matt, Mike Johnson, Michael Jordan, all these guys, I promise you, they were eating good, healthy food. They were taking care of themselves. Now, granted, they probably had the money to do it. So I try to teach these kids is like, hey, look, focus on how you can eat clean. Stay away from fried foods, stay away from breads and pasta. So I keep it real simple with them. So basically, I talk about eating, like steak, shrimp, fish, chicken, rice, sweet potatoes, bake it versus fried, just kind of like that generic, kind of mentality. With the moms, though, I love talking to them. It's like, hey, you're busy. You're running around going from one
Mm.
school to the house, running these. Like, check it out. Make your life easier. Come buy food from me. It's already, cooked. And you just have to microwave it yourself. So obviously they got the money, so I'm gonna ask them about it. But I talk to them too about, like, sure, it's quick and easy to go through a drive-through, grab a bag or something. And, of course, as a dad myself, I have, some young kids. They're 6, 7, 11. They always want Chick-fil-A. And of course, the hardest part for me is they don't eat all the Chick-fil-A food. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting here like, man, I paid $20 for these chicken nuggets. And I'm sitting here looking like, I just look like, just get one. And next thing you know, I'm eating all their leftovers because they only took one bite and they said they don't want it anymore. Self-power, willpower, control, self-control. You have to sit there and say, hey, I know I don't need that, so I'm not going to put it in my mouth. I would like to say I win most of those battles, but it isn't always easy.
All right, we bet not. And I got 2 comments. I got a question myself here. I'm wondering, is this Mr. Johnson, Dallas Johnson?
Yes, that is.
All right. So, Mr. Johnson, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Also, Norchella Davis, if I'm saying the name correctly, checking in from Cabo St. Lucas.
That is my mom.
Is it?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
What's up, Mom?
Hey,
Yeah,
what's
family
going
affair
on?
then. That's
Oh,
good.
that's baby. I love it.
That is really good. But no, so Kevin, the big thing is because we know that, listen, at nighttime, and it all depends because, and this is why I say it's not only for the athletes, it's also for the adults as well. Because you have a lot of people that come off either second shift or third shift. The second shift folks, most of the time, they can end either at 11 and or midnight. Then obviously they go home and they're ready to eat, but they're also ready to sleep. The bad part is they tend to eat a heavy meal and then go straight to bed, which is the worst thing for you because your digestive system is saying, hold on for a second. So you got me all filled up and now you want me to put you to sleep and then you want me to work myself? So what's the best thing for someone who comes off either the overnight shift or even the ones that come off the second shift where they don't have to eat something heavy, but at least get them through the evening until they wake up in the morning?
No, actually, that's a really good question because we tend naturally to want to eat heavier toward the end of the day, especially if you just worked an 8-hour, 12-hour shift, especially working those shift works. I, for one, I love to pig out right after a long 12, 16-hour day. I've been in the restaurant industry for the longest time. So my favorite thing to do after a long day was go to Waffle House and, end up, because I can imagine a bunch of these guys, especially the shift workers or these second shifts, they're going to Waffle House, they're going to Denny's, they're going to, IHOP, if they're stopping by and getting something on the way home. The truth is, eating before bed is not a bad thing. All right. It's really not. I could eat, 30 minutes before I get in bed. The only thing is my meal before I go to bed is a scoop of yogurt, 1 scoop of protein powder, a handful of granola, and some blueberries.
Okay.
It's small. It's a small, like literally it's just one little bowl. It's not even a whole bowl. The problem is whenever we have that tendency to want to eat a lot of high sugar, high carbohydrates after we have a long day, because that's what we want, that's what we crave. Your body's craving that stuff because you've basically depleted your entire body all day long. You wore it out, so now you have to replenish your body with nutrients. But the only problem is our minds think, I want, steak and mashed potatoes and baked
Mhm.
potato and all this stuff, or fried food or something quick, just comforting. Look, it's not going to kill you to eat too much before bed, but make sure you're eating clean items. My suggestion that I always try to tell people right before bed, like if you're kind of strapped for time,
Hmm.
eat more vegetables and clean protein. All right, maybe not so much carbohydrates. You can cut the carbs out. That way, you can have more fibrous, vegetables, broccoli, carrots, kale, squash. I mean, mix the vegetables up. Don't make it boring. You can even use good seasonings, things like that. But pan fried it, saute it, grill it if you got one at the house. Obviously, this is stuff that people don't really have a lot of time for. Look, you can go buy these little microwavable bags of steamed vegetables, throw it in there, throw some rice, get you some I don't know, like teriyaki sauce or some kind of like little sauce bottle, from sriracha, something like that. Eat before bed. Just make sure it ain't a bunch of fried junk.
All right.
Hey,
We got a
hey, hey,
question
hey,
too
Kevin.
for
Oh, you got another question for him?
yes. Well, from Lynette Thomas, she says, "How do you
Okay.
feel about the keto diet?"
Okay.
Well, to truth be told, half my business relies on people who are eating the ketogenic diet. We sell, signature meals. These are items that have, rice, brown rice, sweet potatoes, things like this. And of course, we have our keto section, our low carb section. Uh, there's so many, misunderstood conceptions of what keto is. Basically, ketogenics, what this is basically you're converting the fatty acids inside of your body into energy. And so when you're eating carbohydrates, your body's number one preferred fuel source is carbohydrates. That is how we are programmed. That is what I mostly suggest most of the time. However, some people do believe they would lose, more weight or have a better success rate with going ketogenic. The thing is, it's not bad as long as you're doing it correctly. But a lot of people think, well, I got to eat butter, I got to eat bacon, I got to eat
Mhm.
fats. Look, all fats are not the same. Okay, and that's where people get things confused. You got your good fats. Your monosodium fats, your saturated fats. Then of course, but then you have your trans fats, your saturated fats. You have these other fats that are not good. They do not, they're not soluble into your body the same way. So, my answer to people is when they ask me about the keto diet, if
Mhm.
you stick to it, your body will work and learn how to adapt to eating fat as a fuel source. If you make sure your fats are coming from clean products such as almonds, walnuts, avocados, avocado oil, CT oil, or was it MCT oil, things of this nature. If you're going to have dairy, make sure it's freshly processed dairy, such as like whole mozzarella, shred your own cheese. Don't eat pre-shredded cheese because it's actually coated in cellulose, which is actually a byproduct of sawdust from the actual trees. Uh, yeah, pre-shredded. You're looking like pre-shredded cheese is actually covered in sawdust. Just so you know. I know, right? Shred your own cheese. Invest into your own diet to make sure that you're ingesting items that are going to be 100% better for you than pre-made, pre-processed, products. So keto is not bad, but make sure you stick with it. Make sure you eat the clean keto, not the dirty keto. And then also, if you're going to come off of keto, make sure you slowly introduce carbohydrates back into your diet. If you have one day where you just eat a bunch of carbohydrates, guess what? You're going to balloon up and you're going to swell and you're going to feel really, really bad. So it does get kind of rough out there. All right.
Hey, I have a question for you, Kevin. First of all, I want to say excellent job of informing us about the nutrition and and the different foods we need to eat. By me being down here in southern Louisiana, the food is so delicious and so good.
Oh
That,
yeah, trust me, I know.
we do have some problems with eating it, but we do have a good time. But the question I have for you is on the athletic side. You have a guy that comes to you and say, "Hey, Kevin, I want to buck up, but I want to stay lean because I'm a football player, all right?" And then you have a basketball player that says, "Hey, Kevin, I'm too big. The coach said, hey, I got to lose so much weight. I need to get down lean." How do you go about advising this person on the football side what to eat, and on the basketball side how to eat?
No, that's actually that's a really good question. It's what I get asked a lot. Um, there's not a cookie cutter answer. There's not going to be, hey, you need to eat less of this or more of that. Usually, whenever I come to a scenario like this, say you got your football player who needs to gain some muscle mass or something like that, first I ask, what is your current routine?
Hmm.
What are you doing on a daily basis? What is the first thing you eat when you first wake up? All right. First, it also depends on their age. It's like, how old are you? How tall are you? How much do you currently weigh? All right. I'm not going to tell a 6'4", 280 foot or 280 pound offensive lineman that he needs to eat the same thing as a 5'10", 205 pound, wide receiver. They're not going to eat the same things. They're not going to have the same diet. They're not going to have everything like that. And so basically you find out the information like that, age, height, weight. Then one of the questions I ask now to my older clientele is, have you had your hormone levels checked?
Hmm.
This is a sleeper that most people don't realize is hormones now are playing a major role in weight gain and weight loss. This is both our male and female clientele. Especially if you're over the age of 30, make sure you do get your testosterone checked. If you're over the age of 30, for a woman, get your estrogen levels checked and get your testosterone levels checked. You don't realize that, as a woman, you also need testosterone along with proestrogen and estrogen. These are all things that make you who you are as a woman, but it also makes you have the energy to metabolize food and to grow. Um, Go back to your original question. So I ask those questions, and then I go into, what is your energy level? Obviously, if you're a football player who's working out 2-a-days, you're going to need to gain weight to keep up. You're going to need a lot of carbohydrates. All
Hmm.
right. Sorry to my keto people, as just mentioned, but most athletes, I try to push them to eat more carbohydrates. They need to fuel their body as much as possible while also making sure they're maintaining at least 1.5 grams of protein per body weight. All right,
Hmm.
that's my suggestion. So they need to double down on the protein or the carbohydrates. Make sure they're eating before they work out, after they work out. Make sure they're eating enough in the morning. Make sure they're not fasting. Make sure that they are going to eat enough, because you have to be in a caloric surplus to gain muscle mass. You have to eat more than what you currently eat in order to gain anything. Otherwise, you're just at your resting maintenance weight.
Hmm.
Right? Now, on the flip side, if I got a guy who's trying to lose weight, all right,
Hmm.
says I'm too big, I got to lose a few pounds. Well, guess what? Your protein is going to stay about the same. We're going to lower the protein just a little bit to about zero point 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. What this means is, say you got a 250-pound person, you want zero point 0.8 to 1.2 grams per 250 pounds. So, I mean, obviously, you're looking at anywhere between 230 to
Hmm.
260 grams of protein daily is what they want to consume. The protein, the purpose of that is to prevent protein catalysts. You're wanting to prevent your body from breaking down the protein whenever you work out. And that protein, I'm talking about muscle, all right? So you don't
Hmm.
you don't
Hmm.
want to lose muscle mass, you want to lose weight, right? And so you want to make sure that you're eating enough protein that converts to the amino acids that keeps the building blocks inside those muscles to prevent themselves from breaking down. That way you can still do the right workouts. But then the trick to this, to lose the weight, is to learn how to manipulate the carb intake, the carbohydrate intake. So what I mean by that is your morning, sure, go ahead and get some carbs in, whether it's from a English muffin or oatmeal or grits with no butter, especially no sugar. I don't know who does that these days anymore. I hope I don't.
Grits need sugar. Just throwing
Sugar
that out
doesn't get in grits. All right. But you make sure you eat clean grits, which is going to be just straight up water, salt, grit. All right. No extra butter, no cream, nothing like that. Those are actually really, that's what I like to eat in the morning. I know Ron's shaking his head like, "Ain't much butter."
I was gonna say there goes my Mardi Gras grits, man. Kevin to mess me up with my Mardi Gras grits, bro. Dang.
But the thing is, once you cut all that stuff out of your system and you eat grits with a fried egg on top of it, you'd be amazed at how much it tastes differently after you clean your system, your palate out. But back to the guys trying to lose a few pounds but keep that muscle mass. So then the next few meals would depend on when their workout schedule is. Are they working out in the morning? Are they working out in the afternoon? The goal is to have a little bit of carbohydrates but protein source prior to your workout and then right afterwards. All right. So when you're trying to lose weight and trying to lean up, my 3 times to eat carbohydrates are breakfast, right before you work out, and right after you work out. Now, before you're talking like maybe drinking a quick protein shake and eating a rice cake. All right. You're talking like 30 to 40 grams of carbohydrates that come from like a rice cake or a half a bagel, something of this nature, something you can digest really quick. Or a cream of rice is a really big one that a lot of bodybuilders eat because it's a real fast digesting carbohydrate. And then right afterwards, same thing. You're snacking on some rice to kind of quickly spike that insulin levels. That way you can keep that body from breaking down. But then the rest of the day, guess what? You're eating lean proteins and vegetables. All right. So to answer your question, pretty much in a nutshell.
Oh man, you did a great job, man. I'm ready to get lean and mean, but I gotta eat some Mardi Gras grits, bro. And another thing about my hair, I thought that was hereditary, bro. I mean, I didn't know it. I didn't know how
Look, I mean, trust me, I feel you, Ron. We out here, all right? We
Hey
out here.
man, I really enjoyed it, man.
Okay.
You did a great job, man, informing us, man. Golly.
So, Kevin, we know you got to prepare your meal, in which we're all looking for. At least I
Like,
am, because
I'm
I love
hungry.
your food. Yes. So, as you're doing that, can you talk a little bit about food sensitivity?
That's a good question.
Food sensitivity and just what do you mean by that?
So, in general, because you know how like certain foods can trigger inflammation in the body, and we're just not aware of it, and we're just
Oh,
thinking
you're talking about
like,
it that
oh,
way.
I
That,
ate.
that is okay. All right.
Yeah.
Um, Raise your hand if you have arthritis and your knees hurt whenever you get up in the morning. Am I only one? Nobody? Joints hurt? Body hurts? Nothing
Man.
hurts? Angel, you're just feeling great over there. I love it. All right.
No,
My
I
knees
I have
hurt, my
other aches.
back hurt,
Back hurts, neck hurts,
my ankle hurts.
everything hurts, right? All right. So as I was talking a minute ago about, when we have these young kids about what they're eating now and how whenever they grow up, they have adverse, health issues. People don't realize that, sugar, gluten, which comes in bread, pasta, things like that, even red meats, right? Miss Thomas over here, she understands. She's got body aches. I feel you, girl. My body hurts too. We don't realize that the way we are producing these products this day and age are creating us to have massive autoimmune disorders and massive inflammation. All right, especially gluten. Gluten is the one big thing I'd tell people to cut out of their diet unless they know exactly where their gluten is coming from. Back in 1970, they decided to start genetically modifying our wheat germ, making it 3 times the size, grows faster. They can do it twice a year. All of a sudden, we have wheat in abundance, right? Which makes me have all this flour. So, before I go on a long tangent about this, basically, this stuff, what it does is it causes your what is it?
The autoimmune.
Autoimmune.
Autoimmune, but the antibodies, that's
There
what
you
I'm
go.
thinking about. So the antibodies inside your body start to see this gluten or start to see this increase in sugar or start to see these aminos that come from certain red meats. And they see it going through your blood system. So imagine if you would, and this is the best way it's ever been described to me, is you have these autobodies that are basically they're the white blood cells and the platelets inside your blood. They're going around riding on these horses and they're going around and they're just, destroying anything that's bad, that's negative, and just, going crazy, right? And so
Hmm.
they're trying to protect your body. Well, you start all of a sudden eating bread every single day. Well, every single day you have a wave of gluten coming into your system. Well, guess what? Gluten likes to really hang out around your thyroid. Well, you got these, these fellas, these whatever I just said, I don't know, lost my mind, train of thought. The
Your thyroid and the
antibodies.
um.
I don't know why I keep getting, but anyways, the antibodies they end up attacking all this gluten that goes around your body, and they get tired, they get worn out. Well, eventually they start hitting the actual thyroid. So
Mm,
imagine you got a bunch of battlefields going on in your body. And instead of just attacking the enemy, which is the gluten and other items, they're also attacking your body, your organs, your thyroid, your gallbladder, your intestines. Look at the amount of people now are on synthroid medicines across the country. You know, you don't realize it's because your body attacked itself because you kept eating all these inflammation based, ingredients, glucose, or gluten, a lot of sugar, a lot of red meat, which not all red meat's bad for you, but the corn fed red meat versus grass fed does play a role. All right. So all of a sudden, your body starts to become overinflamed. It starts eating itself down. Next thing you know, you got rheumatoid arthritis, and you're only 30. You're having thyroid issues, or you're like me at 19. I had half my thyroid removed because of my diet as a kid. So I speak this from experience. Or you might have 25-year-olds getting their gallbladder removed. It's all because of this stuff that we're eating and not eating clean. So yes, watch out for eating a lot of gluten, a lot of sugars, a lot of red meats, and things that cause inflammation. All right.
I mean, that's all good information too, because again, there's, and I could make a funny part of segment here. I'm not too sure if it'll work or not, but uh, as far as there's a lot of times we like to believe there's 30 million different diets that are out there. We see it. Jenny Craig now is a thing in the past. I think they still have like Weight Watchers and everything else. And I would just say, in my own opinion, is that if you really want to get to a point where you may not have been eating well. Everybody goes through different phases. You could be going through a divorce, a bad breakup, just stressful job, and then you start picking up on stuff that really isn't good for you, but because of doing so many different things and putting your body through so many different changes, you have your ups, you have your downs. People go by where you see like these infomercials like late at night where I'll take this pill and we're guaranteed for you to lose, 35 pounds. And then you had back in the day, I'm not going to say the age of all of us here, but you had the what they call like the shake machine. If you stand there and you do one of these numbers, you end up losing weight. It's funny to see that stuff, which obviously it doesn't work because it's your own DNA. It's how you
Mhm.
feel. And when sometimes, you tend to look in the mirror and you see like, wow, what happened? And sometimes you become complacent, even if you could be in the best relationship. You're like, you know what? When we first met, we were looking hot. Now, not so much. So what can you do to basically self motivate yourself to be able to say, you know what, I do need to make the change, and what can I add more water intake to make up for less soda, less sugars, less,
Mhm.
diet stuff? Because a lot of people think, well, if I drink a Diet Coke with my meal, I'm good. That's not true because the Diet Cokes are equally as bad. There's nothing in
Mhm.
Diet Coke that's any better for you than it is in regular Coke. And to Brandon, thank you for watching from work. I really do appreciate it.
That's my dad.
Is it?
What's up, Dad?
Wow. We got
Dad,
everybody.
get mom, get them all out here.
You got the whole family here, don't
Sure
you?
Yes,
do.
I do. I saw a cousin pop up as well
Yeah,
too.
Barry. Well, wait a
Yep,
minute. It's a family affair tonight.
it's a
Welcome
family.
the entire family.
Yes, Coach Johnson. Any more questions?
I'm just looking for this meal.
All
Yeah.
right.
You ready to start cooking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
All right, so
I'm always
basically,
ready for
let's
food.
cook. Let's basically cook up some shrimp with some broccoli, with some rice and teriyaki sauce. All right, but
Sounds good.
really quick, really simple. Let's see if I can make this work. All right, excuse my grill, my stove top here. My guys may not have cleaned it very well today. So make life easy. Can y'all see pretty well? This work out for y'all?
Sure can.
Yeah.
Yeah, crouch down so y'all can see me. Let me tell you what.
Yes.
There we go. Intermediate fasting. That's a good question. Um, so intermediate fasting is pretty interesting. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna let my pan heat up just a little bit. So I got a few minutes to talk. All right. So you always want a nice hot pan. You want to hear the sizzle when you put things in here. All right. That way you actually sear the product.
Mm-hmm.
No, intermittent fasting is pretty good as long as you know what you're doing during those 8 hours that you are eating. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm fasting, so I won't eat for 16 hours." So say from
Mm-hmm.
8 p.m. to noon the next day, I'm not gonna eat, and then all of a sudden at noon until 8 o'clock, I'm gonna eat whatever I can. But you don't realize you're putting your body into a starvation mode. So now your body feels like it doesn't know when the next meal is going to come in. So it absorbs more nutrients versus passing it out as waste. So if you do intermediate fasting, make sure that you eat the right things in that window, that time frame, which is better for you. Quinoa or brown rice, either one's great. It depends. Quinoa actually has more protein. Brown rice actually has a little bit more fiber, based on
Mm-hmm.
what I know. Uh, People have this whole thing where you need to eat brown rice versus white rice. No, that is a complete lie. All right. Brown rice and white rice pretty much have the same nutritional value. Um,
That's Joey B.
all right, I
Joey
can get down
B.
Hey,
with
Joey.
that. I
Is that our
know,
buddy Joey again?
It
That's
Messing
sure is.
Joey.
around with us? What is Joey talking about?
And he follows it up with, "What do you season your chicken breast with?"
man, it depends. I'm from South Louisiana. If I'm cooking at home, it's going to be a little bit of salt and a little Tony Chachere's.
Tony
If it's in the
Sasser.
right, Ron knows what's up. If in my store though, in my actual restaurant, we make our own seasonings. Everything 100% from scratch. That way, there's no monosodium glutamate. There's no actual triphosphorus, phosphorus, bull crap basically added in there. We take actual fresh ground um, spices and we mix it to make our own rubs. So I make a blackening rub that we use for whenever we do like blackened chicken or we do blackened shrimp. Whenever I'm doing my actual roasted chicken marinade, it's going to be a combination of olive oil, garlic, salt, crushed red pepper, freshly chopped parsley, and a squeeze of lemon juice. I find this to be a very neutral marinade, which actually absorbs well into the chicken breast and actually makes it really nice and tasty, with just a little bit of kick from that red pepper flake. That way, it's not a very overpowering flavor profile. That way, because I'm in the meal prep business, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people they're like, "Oh, well, what's the sodium content?" But then we also take that chicken and keep it very neutral in flavor, so that we can add extra items to it, or sauces that we make in house too. Because, like for example, the shrimp dish, I got a sugar-free teriyaki sauce that we make from scratch that I'm gonna put it, throw in here.
That
All right,
sounds
but
good.
yeah, at home though, I got Tony Chachere's and salt all day long. I ain't gonna lie to you. But at the restaurant, what I sell is a different story. So, all right. So we got a hot pan. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil down in here. So you should hear get a nice little sizzle. I'm gonna throw
I
in
can
some
smell
broccoli.
it. I can smell it all the way over here.
Smell it. I had to turn the pan off for a little while. I was talking too much. I didn't want to burn anything. So make sure you get a little bit of oil in here. So what I'm doing is get my broccoli good, trying to get it kind of roasted a little bit. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of garlic to it. That's crap. I'm gonna get my pan too hot. So I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic just to give a little extra season. A little bit more oil because we're getting dry over here. So get a good sear on it. Splash a little bit of water. That way you can steam that broccoli some. All right. Then I'm gonna throw in the shrimp.
Tasty.
Man, rubbing my hands together over here.
I'm hungry again, Kevin, and I already ate.
I can taste this stuff.
Keep it simple. So I got a little bit of salt that I'm putting in here. All right. And then I got a homemade teriyaki sauce that we make. It's literally, so instead of using like brown sugar, we use gluten-free sodium soy sauce, which is La Choy is our preference because it's always gluten-free. Then, of course, we also use erythritol or swerve, whether for a brown sugar swerve, and then a little bit of fresh, wildflower honey. So you get a little bit of natural sweetness from it. And then, of course, you add in your garlic powder or fresh garlic, some freshly grated ginger, and then throw in a little bit of xanthan gum is what we use. So instead of using like cornstarch or anything like that, we use xanthan gum for our thickening agent, which helps it kind of have like that thick viscosity. That way you're not getting like a real runny, a meal. So get these guys kind of good and sauteed. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of this teriyaki sauce right here. All right. And of course, I got some rice that I already cooked earlier. The way we cook our rice is literally we're going to use water, we're going to use chicken base, and we're going to use salt. That way you have a little bit of flavor in there. That way it's not plain, boring white rice. You can also get some of those Ben's microwavable packages. I love those, by the way. That's what I have at the house. We can go to Sam's, we get a 6-pack for like $9. And so you tear off, the corner and you microwave for 90 seconds. Look, guys, I eat fast and easy as much as I can. I promise those guys work just well. So I'm going to add in the rice to all this right here.
Kevin, can you pull your camera down some so we can see it?
Down
So the viewers can see it. Thank you, sir. This is my happy place right here.
Everything's good, sauteed.
Now, while you're quickly putting that in the dish there, because Joey B's here is on a roll. First, he says, let me go back one. Hang on, Joy. I'll get to your first comment. Let me go back to.
I got this right here.
Oh my gosh.
Rice.
I have that right now.
How can I get to
That was like
man?
10 minutes. That was what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, real simple. I mean, a little bit of prep work, of course, but also I'm going to add in 100 grams of pineapple to this, okay? So here's the kicker. Papaya and pineapples, all right? In the morning, have papaya with your meal first thing in the morning, okay? It helps with the digestion of the meals throughout the day, all right? Because when you're eating like I do, I eat 5 times a day. I'm eating, quite a good bit of food every day because I'm actually trying to bulk up a little bit right now. It's bulking season for me. And so I have to make sure I'm digesting and my stomach's not getting all, hurting too much. So papaya, and then at my after workout meal, I eat pineapple because the digestive enzymes in the pineapple actually help to push and give, a good flow to the natural system in the body. All right.
I thought you was just trying to show off those guns. That's what I thought you was doing.
Well, Joey B made a point of it. Joey B says, my intermittent fasting includes 2 Bartles and James, Chris going to bed with a chicken breast. Then he follows it up with Joey B. This guy's arms are like anacondas. Well done. Just throw some Crisco on there for old time's sake. And then he followed that one up with, I'm just waiting for Martha Stewart to show up on the show.
Hey, look. One of my favorite cookbooks ever is the Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart's cookbook.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't seen that,
That's
guys, it is hilarious. I love that book.
Yes. Barry follows it up with, he says, how important is it to choose organic produce versus non when you have a choice?
Well, that's a good question.
That is a good question. So you have your dirty dozen. So there's roughly about 12 products out there known as the dirty dozen that you would try to eat your best organic. And these are usually going to be vegetables such as like your broccoli, your strawberries, your blueberries, because these are low-lying bushes that if most big farms, when they use pesticides, these are items that usually end up getting sprayed quite often.
Right.
Thing is, I'm going to be real with you. Majority of organic labeled products are complete bull crap. You're wasting your money. You're paying twice as much for something that was technically, we didn't spray the pesticides on it, but we sprayed it around it, is how it's labeled as organic. But like I said, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, spinach, those things, yes, eat those organic because it's a little bit better. But for the most part, a lot of that stuff out there is literally just you're paying for a label that was manipulated in the marketing system just to make you spend $1.50 more for the same product that you can get.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna bring up a thing that's in a little bit here about Whole Foods, but Joey B says this is one of the best segments on the show. Keep it cooking. Love the great advice from the chef.
Cool. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all having me. The reality is, I got ribs and macaroni and cheese and some baked spaghetti in the oven. I got a catering going out here in 10 minutes that I need to get to. Because, we also do catering. I get a contract with Amazon too. So, hey, it's been a pleasure. Any last minute questions or comments?
Hey, thanks a lot, man. It's been very informative, and we
Thanks,
got to have him back.
Kevin.
We got to have him back. Kevin, you got to come back.
Oh yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you. It has been a pleasure.
The pleasure's been mine, all right? I'm not going to lie to it. It's been a true pleasure hanging out with you guys and girls. And I hope somebody learns something today, even if it is about drinking 2 bottles of whatever that guy's drinking.
Carlson King.
I learned
Hey, look,
about
alcohol's not
losing my
bad either,
hair.
just as long as you drink the clear stuff and you drink it in moderation with plenty of water along with it, all right?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's so
Kevin, I
true.
learned about losing my hair.
Hey, look, man, I gave up that fight a long time ago. I started getting, a good clean buzz, man. I know
No problem. Well, listen, Kevin, thanks once again for joining us. And don't forget, you guys can, if you've been looking at the bottom scroll there, you can see exactly where you can find those delicious meals. Fit Chef, if you guys Google it, it'll come right across at the bottom. Eat Fit Life. Nope, I'm getting it wrong here.
EatFitChefNoodles.com.
See, I was getting a little bit closer there. But thank you for it. Lynette says, great job. And
Thanks, Mom.
Mrs. Davis says, thanks for this info. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Thank
Thank
y'all.
you.
All right. We'll see you later, Kevin.
So that was listen, that was a great segment, and it's always good because it's rare that you get to see someone actually cook the meal live, and especially when it's something healthy and fit. But now it sucks for me because I'm extremely hungry at this point where I wasn't before the show started, and now I'm just hungry. But listen, again, it's it does take a lot. And what I was going to say about Whole Foods was Barry gives it a thumbs up and that it's lit. So thank you, Barry, for that. And thank you, everyone, for your comments, too. I do appreciate it. And for everyone still listening in here on Sports Radio 102.9 FM, The Game, over on AMP Radio, and right here on BroadSDSouth.com, including our YouTube page. But so Whole Foods got in trouble a couple years ago because they were labeling their foods as organic, only come to find out that it wasn't true. And so they had to then relabel and put themselves where it wasn't organic. And also for those who drink the Naked brand, those juices, when they first started, same thing. They were labeled as organic, only come to find out that it wasn't true. They were using processed sugars. So that's why Naked had the organic label removed from them from the company as well. So even though, yes, you'll get a lot of people say, oh, eat organic is, it's great. You are spending extra money, but it all depends on how you cook your meals. Obviously, if you're going to put it in a tub of grease, you already know that's not good, whether it's organic, whether it's natural. So, you got to be mindful of the stuff you end up doing. And like, it all depends for me because I'm always on the go. Obviously, I have a busy full-time job. My morning meal is normally either a muffin or a rice cake, like Kevin was talking about. And then at lunchtime, it's apples. And then once I get home, it's salad or something else when I end up, getting in here. Does it mean that I eat healthy all the time? Of course not. But I try because at the ripe old age of 21, was many years after.
That's all right.
Yeah, you got to try at least stay as fit as you possibly can because as we get older, things start to hurt. And for me, I will say that I've had a bloating issue but a lot of that was because of stress related when I lived up in the Northeast. Moving down to Florida, of course, it came with me, but I've learned how to control and manage a little bit more. And there's an actual pill that's out there that usually pills are not the best things for you, but there's one called Emma Relief that I will stand by. And I do not get endorsed by them. I don't get paid for them. They're not a sponsor, but for a lot of problems I was having internally, that pill has worked wonders because it's all natural ingredients in there. So sometimes those little goofy infomercials that we hate seeing on like on Amazon or YouTube, something else, that one happened to catch my eye, and I watched it for the entire 28 minutes, and I've been using it now for, I would say, about 6 months. And a lot of the aches in the joints and stuff that I was having has gone away, thankfully, because of it. So that, and of course, what you end up eating. But yeah, listen, Kevin did a great job. Thank you, Coach Mac, for bringing him on board because
Yeah, thank
that
you,
was very,
Coach.
very informative.
Of course, guys. He is like has knowledge of this world when it comes to nutrition, fitness. I mean, Kevin, I love learning from Kevin. I've been knowing Kevin for some years, and I've just been so grateful to be able to have him as a part of my life and to learn from him as well. So
Yeah.
yes, we'll work on trying to get him back. So I gotta check with him, and hopefully we can get him back for another segment. So stay tuned, guys. We'll work on it.
That's the magic of when things, when they go wrong. And I say this when it's live, oh boy, Joey B's got his comment. Joey B says all the stress went away from Angel's body when he had an umbrella drink on the beach of Tampa in the middle of winter for the first time.
Somebody knows the truth, huh?
Joey sure does. But by the way, those who are tuning in for the first time tonight, Joey B has been a great friend of the show on the network for the last 3 years. Matter of fact, I think the only time Joey wasn't on the show was the first month in, but after he found us, he's been back, and Joey's been very, very loyal, and I appreciate Joey's friendship throughout the years. He is in Denver. I didn't get the opportunity to run into him because he was out of the state at the time when I went up there. But Joey B has been a great friend. Thank you, Joey, for always coming back. Man, I really do appreciate it. And Janice McBride says, I am watching. And by the way, earlier, this has got to be Coach's show tonight. And by Coach, I mean Coach Johnson, because Julia Mitchell tuned in earlier. She said, we in here, and then followed by
Angel, I did have to send the link out. I made sure that we had as many viewers as possible. But I will say one thing about my family, and they have always been this way, is they always show up. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I could watch paint dry on the wall, but if it was a competition where I'm watching paint dry, they'll all be there to cheer me on. So, no, I'm very appreciative of the support system that I've had.
Wow, that's all.
And
That's awesome.
my mom just joined, so she's the one that says I am watching. That's Janice.
Oh,
She crept in here.
hey, Janice, how you doing?
So Ron and I feel left out at this point. So
Hey,
Coach and Coach Joe. No, but listen.
And
we have
Lynette, I
support.
forgot about Lynette. Lynette is my coworker. I forgot about her too. So let me make sure I give her a shout out as well. So thank you, Lynette.
Listen, I hope you guys all come back next week. And it's been, I will say this much, in a short time we've all been together, this is probably the best crew that I've worked with, and I've had fun. And St. Louis, thank you for Coach Johnson, because I did steal her from the TBL. I'm just putting it out there. And Coach Griffin, you can get upset with me all you want to, but I stole her. I'm admitting I
Said he
stole her.
stole her.
Yeah. Listen,
He stole her.
I watched this young lady put on a magical performance. And I will say this much, and I've said this to Coach Johnson herself. So during the TBL playoffs, every team, as far as broadcasters, everybody tries to step up their game, right? Because it's a playoffs. And you also have an opportunity with a TBL, not only as an athlete, but as a broadcaster as well. So for me, being a broadcast partner for the TBL, it's been great for me. I've had a lot of fun meeting everyone from the draft all the way through the regular season during the playoffs. And the Canadian draft is coming up here shortly. But the highest rated playoff show was not done by a male. It was done by Coach Johnson. And before the last ball made it into the basket, she had over 1,000 live viewers. So
What?
Go
for
Coach.
that,
You see TRJ over here. And we got look, and she's with us. She's on our team now. Oh, we got a star. We got a star.
Way to go,
Okay.
T.
I see you, girl. I see you.
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate the opportunities that Angel has presented. It definitely was. It was a crazy experience, especially it was the Griffins' first season
Mm-hmm.
in the TBL league, and it was my first time commentating in over 5 years. So to be able to experience that, call a playoff game all the way up into a championship series, it was great. It was a great opportunity, a great experience.
All
So
right, we got a vet over here.
yeah.
Hmm.
Good, because you never listen. The one thing I always say is you never know who's watching, and it's absolute facts because that's how I came across the game. That's how I heard Coach Johnson, and it was one of those things that I knew it, and I even said it to my fiance. So that was I again, St. Louis. You're welcome, and you can hate me all you want to, but I still do
Yeah,
good. I'm just putting it out there. Just
we gotta watch
letting
out for
everybody know.
we gotta watch out for Angel. He steals them.
That's right,
No, I
man. It's a
love
good
it.
thing.
I'm glad you did steal her, man. I'm glad she's with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. Ron, I must say, you are full of jokes. And that is, Ron, you never shy from the opportunity to take a joke. And I appreciate that.
Hey, so you gotta be loose up under the collar. You gotta have some fun and enjoy yourself because hey, you may not even be here tomorrow. So hey, enjoy yourself and have a
That's
good
true.
time.
That's true. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. Matter of fact, we're not even guaranteed the next couple of minutes. But
That's
uh,
right.
before I get back to Joey B, Jacqueline Wingard Suggs says, I'm watching also.
Yeah, that's
Of
that's my
hoops.
cousin from Illinois. So
See?
hello,
We
Jacqueline. Shout out to you.
See that?
got a family affair for this joint.
Yes.
Exactly. Joey B says, Coach Mack and Coach Johnson, what do you think the strongest mid-major conferences are this coming
Ooh,
season in women's college basketball?
Mm,
Ooh, that's a tough one.
that's
That's
a
actually a
good question.
conversation probably for our next show. But
yes.
Joey, let me
Okay.
think about that one because that's a
Same.
tough one.
All
Same.
right.
I think since they've adopted the new system of the portal, it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely changing the dynamics of how competition is being spread across the board. So I agree with Coach Mack. That is something that I need to think on and actually do a bit of homework to see what the incoming and what the transfers look like,
Yep.
because that is now a huge thing that you have to factor in is looking beyond incoming high school players, but also who's in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
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 Some people like the portal, some people can't stand it. So that could be a combination of the show because I know, listen, I know it had to be something done in college. A lot of these kids obviously didn't get their play time. And I understand as an athlete, you're playing to try and make a career of yourself. You're not playing to play on the bench. If that was the case, none of us would be playing. We'll be playing, in our living rooms or anywhere else. But you got the
Right.
opportunity, you're making the best of it. So if you have to make a transfer portal and get into the portal, I mean, that's what you have to do. And again, I know people get upset, but it was there and was put in a reason, for a reason. The same way with NIL. And for those who don't know, if you're new to it, the NIL is name, image, likeness, which is a deal that was made with the college teams because a lot of these universities, all being equal, have made a ton of money off the athletes, off their names, off their numbers, off their brand. And so now
Mm-hmm.
finally it's coming back to the athlete. The only problem is, as we talked about it on the initial show, is we hope that these kids get educated on the money that is coming their way because it is very easy to blow through millions upon millions of dollars. Mrs. Davis says, that's my baby, followed by she knows her stuff. Listen, Mrs. Davis, I'm going to say it again. That's why I scold her. That's why.
Yeah, she
Thank
does know her stuff.
She
And
does.
Angel,
Yes, Miss
and Angel,
Davis.
Uh-huh.
and Angel. Speaking of being educated, in the future, we're gonna have a expert coming on to talk about the NIL, just to get everybody up to speed on how it works in college and just the foundation and what's it all about. So we got that coming in the future.
Yeah, we got a lot of good guests coming up in the
Excited.
future. And by the way, as we're into bonus time here in the show, but also to kind of drop a little nugget to you guys, come next week. By the time we come back on here again, of course, there's other shows on broadscsouth.com. You guys can check out. We have a show on Monday night now, NFL show. Tuesday soon, there's going to be a Spanish speaking version of the college show. Wednesday nights are right here with Talking Hoops, which last night we had a transfer here to Thursday. But I'm glad though, because we have so many great people here in the room and making comments. So you can find us on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9, of course, 7 Central if you live in the Midwest, 8 o'clock here if you're on the East Coast. And also the college show that was just launched is Wednesday as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Thursday normally is the regular Broad SC South weekly show. And then Sundays is the pregame show. So, and that would vary because obviously the different times for the NFL games. I follow the Eagles. So normally I do the preseason before the Eagles game. So a lot of stuff to check out. But come next week, if you are watching and tuning into the show, there will be a live phone call line into the station. So, two things that are great about that. One is if you would like to make a comment and or to speak to somebody on the panel, you'll be able to call in. We'll take your call. And just like a regular radio station, we'll take your name, we'll find out what your question is. And if you missed the show and you're watching a replay, that voicemail will be available. So all I ask is that you say the name of the show you like to leave the question for, your name, of course, and then followed by the question. So that is coming up next week. That should be a lot of fun. It will be a local Tampa number, even though I'm originally from Philly, but live here in the Tampa area. So there will be a Tampa number. I'll release it come next week, or if not, maybe during the week, I'll put it out there in a social media post. So lots of good stuff here coming up on Talking Hoops. It's, again, I have fun with this panel and for those that I will say once again that are new here tonight, it started with Ron and myself just supposed to be a 5-minute conversation that turned into a 2-hour phone call. And it is the best 2-hour phone call I've ever had in my life. Because you guys got to understand, I'm driving my full-time job, but I had to pull over at a gas station, go get some popcorn and listen to what Ron had to say because it was a very intriguing conversation. So thanks to Ron, and then bringing on Coach Mac again, as I stole again, St. Louis. You're going to be AKA St. Louis now. Coach Johnson, AKA St. Louis.
You're not going to be able to go into St. Louis, bro.
No, I'm not. I can't even see Coach Ripper. He's probably going to kill me over there in the draft combine coming up in February.
and you're not going to be able to go in East St. Louis either.
Probably not. My co-host says that's why they pay me the big bucks. Yeah, I wish. Listen, I don't even get McDonald's gift certificates. So everything I do is just working your butt off to get to do your dream. But hey, I started this 3 years ago. It's been a lot of fun growing the network. Every year I set a new goal. This year was the start of the sports radio station, and the next goal now is to fill the morning slots with actual live shows. So there's a lot still coming up, but again, I'm enjoying the show a lot. Joey B follows up with next cooking. Let me get back to here. Next cooking show, we all went to see Angel. Wait a minute. We all went, Angel. It's mac and cheese. I make a good mac and cheese, and I don't do it with the box either. And my fiance can attest to that because I make a good one. So yeah, won't be instant. But let's as we get into some bonus time here, we'll let it run for a couple more minutes. Getting back to the WNBA, obviously the Sun will now play the New York Liberty. First game will be Sunday, tip off at 1:00. So with the now only 2 games left in the conferences on either coast, I'll start off with you, Coach Johnson, aka St. Louis. Who do you believe that will end up winning this series?
Now, I definitely have the Liberty taking this series simply because I just don't know if the Suns have enough to sustain a 3-game series with DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas carrying the team on their back offensively. And shout out to DeWanna Bonner, who is 36 years old, out there hooping like a 21-year-old. And, she has had multiple 20-plus games throughout the playoffs so far and has really done a great job putting the team on her back as the vet and carrying them to another round. However, just not enough contribution coming from the bench. And the Liberty has multiple offensive threats. However, even though their last game, like Coach Mack and I discussed, their last game was a bit shocking in the fact that they went to overtime with the Mystics, which I don't think anybody expected for that to happen. But Natasha Cloud just put on a crazy performance, had 33 points, and was really a one-man show. So I think it'll be interesting. I don't think the Suns are just going to roll over to the Liberty. I think they'll definitely make them work for those wins. But I just don't know if the Suns have enough depth offensively to hang with the Liberty for a 3-game series.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
Coach Mac.
So yeah, I'm rocking with the Liberty. I said my final the game is going to be between the Aces and the Liberty. I'm still sticking to that. Based off of what Coach T was just saying, yeah, I don't think the Sun will have enough to be able to even stand against the Liberty. And I say that based off of the stats. And I did look up the playoff stats for the Liberty and Connecticut. And as of right now, I mean, with the Liberty, you have 5 players that's in double figures, and they're not shy shooting the threes. So let's make sure that we point that out because
Mm-hmm.
the Connecticut Suns, well, they really don't have a threat from the 3 point line. I mean, you have like Alyssa Thomas, she doesn't shoot any threes at all. She's literally like 0% from the 3 point line, although her game is strictly inside. Well, when you got a team like Liberty who likes to shoot, you got to come out of your comfort zone. So, can Connecticut sustain that? Probably not. The only thing about the Liberty that I would say they can be iffy. There have been games where they put themselves in situations, and like Coach T just stated, against the Mystics, they're in overtime. So it just depends on how they show up, which will determine on if they're going to dominate, if they're going to struggle, or if they're actually going to lose. But I'm still going to go with the Liberty based off of the stats.
All right, Ron.
Hey, I'm not gonna mess this up. They both of them said it very eloquently,
Sure did.
and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna go with what they have to say because I don't have anything to say. They will.
And let me also add
It was
this too.
good.
I also want to add this too that the last time the Liberty and Connecticut played, which was September 1st, the Liberty ended up winning. The score was 89-59. So, and I will also say that Sabrina did not play then, which is a key factor. And everybody knows, I mean, the girl can shoot, she can pass. I mean, she can just pretty much do whatever. So to add her to this game, yeah, that's going to be a very tough one for Connecticut to pull out.
Joey B says, I want to see Becky Hammond coach against the Liberty, one of her teams she played for in the finals
Right.
and win again.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I want to
That
see
would be so
too.
awesome.
It would be. I am in complete accordance and agreement with Ron because the ladies did such a fantastic job. But here's my little input I'm going to put in there because it's a New York Philly thing, which Joey B knows because obviously he's a Giants fan. I'm an Eagles fan. Am I going to go with New York Liberty even though I know they can win? I'm going with the underdog. I think the Sun may, and it would be a, let me just say, long may could end up pulling this off, but Liberty I think is just a little bit too strong. But I'm gonna stick with the underdog. Hopefully the Sun can end up taking one over to Liberty. It'd be nice for them to take the entire series, but at least win one to show that you did show up. And again, the Sun they're not that far away from trying to at least build around. It's taking them a little bit longer probably than they anticipated. Then on the other side you have the Wings, and of course, your current
Ooh.
champions that are trying to go back-to-back champions that also hosted the WNBA All-Star game, which I was in town for that one for a summer league. So I will start off with this one with Coach Mac. Coach Mac, who wins this series?
Man, so this one is a tough one. I'm still gonna
Mm.
stick with the Aces. However, Wings have been playing some ball, okay? Especially Enrique. I mean, you got Sotu, she's doing her thing. Um, Dallas, yeah, Dallas is gonna be a tough one. But
Represent Dallas.
again,
Represent.
I gotta represent Dallas. I can't. I'm not gonna leave them out there. I probably wouldn't be able to stay in the city if I did. But Dallas has been playing some good ball. I will say that they're coming off strong, and playoffs, anything goes. It's a totally different atmosphere, totally different mentality. Everybody brings their best game. To play against the Aces is going to be interesting to see, because Aces. Hey, the name says it for itself. They're Aces.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be a really good game. This is going to be a tough match to see them play against, and I'm really looking forward to see how they're gonna match up, like Chelsea, okay, Enrique, how we doing this? Then you got, Asia. So it's interesting. I can't wait. It's a nail biter, that's for sure.
It is. Coach Johnson?
I definitely see this going to game three. The
Yeah.
thing about Dallas is they're rolling right now. And not only that, but they set a WNBA record for the last game.
Hmm.
They had 7 players who scored in double figures, which was the first time ever in a WNBA playoff game. So, going with that fire behind them, going with that confidence, especially coming in being the underdog, you know, uh, they're going to play their best basketball in theory. They're going to go and they're going to give the Aces all that they have because they have that grit that they're playing with right now. So I definitely think it's going to be an interesting game. I know that with the Aces, they are just fully loaded, though. That is not
Mm.
going to be an easy win, but both teams play really hard and they play really good basketball together as a team. So I definitely don't want to count Dallas out. I think the Aces are definitely going to have to be prepared for Dallas to bring their best game, especially coming off of a sweep, which was expected of the Aces. But I see this being a 3-game series. And, I love to root for the champions, but at the same time, I can't count out the underdogs in this matchup.
Ron,
Let me
before you
say,
have
let,
before you
let,
you make your point there, the one thing
okay.
to both coaches here, you guys being athletes, is the pressure harder that you're the current champions, you're the current defending champions. So is the pressure harder to repeat, or do you try to take that out the back of your mind and just focus upon the now?
I will say
Yeah.
the pressure is harder because the fact that there is pressure, you have something to defend. Not only that, but you have one of the best coaches that we will possibly see in coaching right now in women's basketball, and a former player who was an elite athlete. You have all stars that fill out this team. Not only were they all stars currently, but throughout their college career. So it's a lot riding on this for them, given that they won the championship last year. Whereas you have Dallas, who, a lot of people might not be expecting them to win. So you really don't have anything to lose going into this game. So you're really getting to play with loose shoulders and get to be carefree because you're already being counted out, by the majority. You're not expected to win. So I would say the pressure is definitely on the team that has something to defend.
All right, Coach Mack.
Yeah, it's definitely pressure on winning because I mean, first off, you have this target on your back. Everybody's coming after you. Everybody wants to see you fail. And then on the flip side, you're just trying to make sure that you're practically error proof. So you really have
Hmm.
no room for mistakes. Um, but can it be done? Absolutely. What's the most important thing is the mentality going into the game. You know that you can win this. You have to be confident. So you have to maintain that confidence in your game and stay dominant throughout the entire thing. So I mean, can it be done? Yes. Will it be done? I think so.
All right, Ron.
Hey, I agree with both analysis of what they talked about for the playoffs and the teams. Uh, I do agree because I've been watching the games as well. I do agree that the Aces in New York are going to be in the finals. Uh, it's just some great talent, some women out there getting it done. And like I said, I'm not going to mess it up because they were very articulate about what they said,
Mm-hmm.
elegant, and we need to hear that again, man, because they they was throwing down up in here tonight.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed it. I'm speechless, man. They were so good. I don't want to mess it up.
No, you're right. Listen, the women did an absolute phenomenal job. Nate Govan, also another TVL broadcaster in the house here, and thank you, Nate, also for Brandon, as he says, great show and appreciate it. But no, listen, the same way the Aces right now, I will say the difference between the two is the Aces are confident. I will say that much. Aces are very confident. They know what's on the line. Now, if in the comparison, if it was men to women, I think the pressure is the same. The difference between that is that the Aces know that, just like Coach Mack said, there's somebody out there that's going to say, man, do I want this team to fail? And I want them to fail big time because they just think they're on top of the world. But the other thing is, there's not cockiness. Now,
Mhm.
Dallas is very just on point. They know what's ahead of them. They know in order to be the best, as always said, you have to beat the best. And right now, that's where the Aces are. So for me, Dallas, could they be that underdog coming in and taking away one from the Aces? They could take game one, but as Coach Johnson said, aka St. Louis, that it can go into three, and it could happen. So I will, as much as I would like to see Dallas take it, but at the same time, too, I would love to see the Aces at least go back to the finals and attempt to make that repeat. I think the confidence for the women's league will show greatness when you're able to go back and win back-to-back championships, especially when you were the host again of the All-Star game. You're also the host city of the defending champions. So for me, it would be nice to see the Aces actually go ahead and take that ring again for a second time, because I think it would be monumental. I think it'll elevate also the women's side of sports, because there will be a lot more to talk about with this team, because we know once you win a championship, now other teams start saying, okay, I see what you're doing.
Mhm.
Let me take you, and let me take you, and let me figure out who else that we want. So, for the Aces, I hope they can pull it off. It would be nice to see them as back-to-back champions, but they have to get through this round first before we can talk about their championships. And with that being said, once again, thank you to everyone. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, for tuning in. The most views that we've had here in our lonely, second episode here. And we hope that the viewership continues to grow. We love the support. Don't forget to please not only follow us there on social media that you guys can find on the team section right on broadcastsouth.com. So you guys can follow us on our social medias, and please like and subscribe over to our YouTube channel. It does help out the show. And no, I do not get paid by YouTube. It just helps out the show when we can reach more and more people. So we do appreciate it. And with that all being said, I can't thank enough for Coach Mack, Coach Johnson, Ron Briscoe, for my producer over in Studio B, for Joey B, Ryan, for the entire Johnson family, the friends of Coach
Let me
Mack.
wave goodbye to them, by the way.
We did. That's because it was a great night tonight. I wish I could make it last forever, but we did get into some bonus time. And again, I thank everyone who also listens in on AMP Radio, especially for the folks out in Spain who are coming in numbers on the sports radio side. Gracias a España, ustedes están con nosotros otra semana. It means a lot. It really means a lot to me. So thank you to everyone. Again, don't forget you can download the app. So in case you are on the go, you can listen to us on the road, and you can do it by going to broadstsouth.com. Go over to the sports radio page. Right at the bottom of the page, you'll see two links, one for Apple, one for Android. Download the app, and while you're there, don't forget to leave the 5 stars. So with that being said, Coach Johnson, any final words?
Thank you to all my family and everyone else who came and joined, and we hope to see you on Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have a good outcome about Sunday's game. Looking forward to that.
Coach Mack, final words?
Just trying to figure out why is my internet losing connection. But no, I am good. I'm just thankful for everybody. So thank you.
Hey, I just want to say, man, I had a good time with Kevin coming on the show,
Yes.
informing us about how to eat right, how to be fit, how to stay fit. And he did a phenomenal job. Can't wait to have him back. Also, Coach Mack, Coach Jay, y'all did a great job of breaking down the WNBA playoff first round teams. And I just can't wait to hear y'all next Wednesday on the show. And I just can't wait to be on with y'all guys again on Wednesday. And Angel, great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Brian. And again, thanks, Lynette, as well, for tuning in for the first time. If it was your first time this evening, please come back next week, everybody. This will only get bigger and better as time goes on. So again, much love, much appreciation. We hope you guys all take care of yourselves. If you're watching the Thursday night game, of course, on the NFL side, Go team. I'm not even going to mention both because I don't like both teams, but whatever's. And Sunday, don't forget the NFL.
That's cold, Angel. That's cold, man. That's cold. Angel, you go steal and then you don't say nothing about a team that's playing on it Thursday night football. Come on.
I can't listen. I did say though before I end the show, the four of us at one point need to get together to watch a game. I'm just not doing it St. Louis. I'm not coming your way, so don't worry. I'm not coming St. Louis way. So
I wouldn't come to St. Louis either if you still on somebody.
sure will.
The cold is about to start rolling in, so I don't recommend it either.
Oh,
That's
no.
okay. All I'm going to leave with, I stole it. So with that being said, you guys have a great night. We'll see you all next week.
See you later, guys.
Bye.